Welcome back. In the previous lessons, we saw what often reveals position instead of strengthening it. The more your state depends on the interaction, the more exposed it becomes. Now we move into what usually follows. When people feel their position is uncertain, they try to stabilize it. They explain more, they justify more, they show more. And here's the question guiding this lesson. When you try to prove your value, does it actually increase, or does something else happen? Let's begin with the moment it starts. Something feels unclear. A reaction is missing. A response is shorter. A signal changes. You notice it, and almost immediately, you move to correct it. You add more detail, you explain your intention, you clarify what you meant. From the outside, this looks reasonable, but underneath, it is a response to uncertainty. You are not just communicating, you are trying to restore position. Now look at how proving appears in behavior. You send longer messages. You add explanations that were not asked for. You justify decisions. You repeat points to make sure they are understood. You try to remove any possible misunderstanding. And the more you add, the more it feels like you are strengthening your position. But something else is happening at the same time. When you increase effort without being asked, it signals that something is unstable. Not because your explanation is wrong, but because it was not required. The other person was not yet concerned. But your reaction introduces concern. It shows that the situation matters to you more than it appears to matter to them. And that difference becomes visible. Compare two responses. One is short, clear, and complete. The other is longer, with added explanations and clarifications. Both deliver the same information, but they do not feel the same. The shorter response holds its position. The longer one tries to secure it. And in trying to secure it, it reveals that it might not be secure. Now we go further. When this happens repeatedly, it becomes a pattern. You anticipate misunderstanding. You explain before being asked. You justify small decisions. You try to stay ahead of any possible doubt. And over time, this pattern defines your position. Not by what you say, but by how often you feel the need to say more than necessary. You see this at work. Someone presents an idea briefly. Another explains the same idea in detail, adding justification. The shorter one feels more certain. In relationships, one person states something simply. The other adds layers of explanation. The difference is not content. It is how much each person feels the need to secure understanding. And that difference shapes perception. So return to the question. When you try to prove your value, what are you actually showing? Over the next few days, notice when you add more than is required, when you explain without being asked, when you try to remove uncertainty before it appears. Observe it without changing anything. Because value does not increase through explanation alone. Sometimes it is reduced by the need to explain. In the next lesson, we move into something even more subtle, how people begin to justify what they already feel uncertain about.